Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please go down below, give me a subscription over here, help me get my numbers up a little bit. We are now technically one person ahead over here on YouTube to what we are on Twitch. So we're 168 here on YouTube as I record this, and 167 on Twitch. So, keep the YouTube numbers going up pretty please. Anyway, today's deck tech. Touched on it last week in the tribal deck I did, for the sake of a better phrase, but I figured it's time that it was Elesh Norn got their own place in the sun. So, 2 double white for a 3/5. Vigilance, Phyrexian Predator, legendary creature, obviously. This is Commander we're talking about after all. And whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or opponent you control, that source's controller loses 2 life unless they pay 1. Right, so if you're getting swarmed by tokens and you decide not to block, take a whole load of token damage, hopefully enough that you won't die, but every say 1 they deal you, they take 2 unless they pay 1. Yeah, no, that seems like a good deal. But the second part of Elesh Norn is 2 in a white to sacrifice and sack 3 other creatures and get to transform into this wonderful saga, the Ardent Etchings, where you get to the first stage, you get to incubate 2 5 times. So that means you're going to get 5 tokens with 2 +1/+1 counters on them, and then they all transform into little Phyrexian. Can't remember what they actually transform into. They transform into little Phyrexian 0/0 creatures that got the 2 +1/+1 counters on them. So you get 5 2/2s. Second stage, those 5 2/2s in your next turn become 3 3s will double strike until the end of turn. Okay, that's kind of big and scary. And then if you get another turn after that, you get to blow everything up. Except for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians, which is fair enough. I get that. So enchantments go, creatures go, planeswalkers go, and you're left with probably a board full of artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians. Because then this flips back into Elesh Norn. You get to replete the whole thing again. I mean, if you've got 3 tokens still sitting there, you can literally flip Elesh Norn, do your attack with it, get some points of damage in, and then sack the 3 creatures, flip it, and get back your 5 new incubator tokens and start the whole process again. I think all the Predators are very good. This is the first one I've actually covered on its own, so I will be doing the others once their prices come down a little bit more on MTGO. But we'll start with Elesh because it's Elesh after all, and we all big evil. So, what does the deck look like? Well, it looks very much like this. As usual for me, start with the land and the ramp. The land is virtually all planes, as you can tell. Temple of the False God, Terramorphic Expanse, Path of Ancestry for the sake of it, and Nykthos, Shrine of Nyx, because why would you not have this in a mono deck? Mistfield Plains, Mirix to produce some Phyrexian mites that I'll come on to. Field of the Dead's in here, Evolving Wilds. Field of the Dead shouldn't be in here, that's a mistake. And as if by magic, Field of the Dead has actually become what it should have been in the first place. He said, I just put it in. I'm sure I put it in. Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Where'd it go? Yeah, there you go. Emeria. The Skyrim. That's what should have been here. I have no idea why I put Field of the Dead in. Whoops. Emeria is really good. We're playing few creatures. We're only playing 18, so we need Emeria in just to make sure we can recycle it. But just because we're only playing 18 creatures doesn't mean the deck's not good. Beyond that, 45 other, part of which is Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, the Jeweled Lotus, because we want to get Elesh Norn out as soon as we can. Turn 1's exceptionally good news. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. We don't need much more than that because we are playing a mono deck, so it shouldn't be too hard to hit the colours we want for a change. Beyond that, I had to go down more of a tokeny route with this, and I needed some way to make sure that we could stay in the game and make our tokens a little bit big as we go along. So that's the aim with this deck. So, start at the beginning, just to slow everything down a little bit and keep our life going. We've got Authority of Consuls. Crawling Chorus is in because it is a Phyrexian, and people don't like getting toxic. I know this for a fact. So they are going to block and lose 2 life rather than try and die at the moment to the 10 poison counters, which, minor rant, still think it should be 15 or 20 in Commander, end of rant. So yeah, Legion's Landings here as well, just to pump out some vampire tokens as we get there. And Paladin class, just so we can pump our creatures up. Basically, the whole idea of Paladin class is to get it to level 2. Yeah, level 3 is great, fine. If you want to pay the 5 mana at some stage, if you've got nothing else to do, fantastic. But, 1 mana makes our opponent's spells cost more. And then if we can get the 3 mana to pump it, that's fine enough for me. Hence why it's here. Elixir of Immortality to shuffle everything back in as it gets blown up. Intangible Virtue makes our tokens, we're hopefully creating a little bit better by giving them +1 and +1 of Vigilance. Norn's Inquisitor enters the battlefield, incubate 2, so there's another incubation. And whenever a permanent you control transforms into a Phyrexian, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Yeah, okay, so you get a 6/6 when this flips and does its bit, at a minimum. Pretty good. Anyway, more tokens. Raise the Alarm, Servo Exhibition are here just to give us those tokens we need, potentially to sack off to Elesh, but just so we've got some other things. Skrev's Hive. I quite like this. It's become one of the sort of my pet cards, I think, a little bit more in recent days. Getting the kind of Bitter Blossom effect, and then eventually hoping we can corrupt someone and make sure that gives all our little mites lifelink is really good. So it helps. Sons of the Gateway, just so we can either exile a target non-artifact creature or artifact or enchantment opponent controls. A little bit of removal. It's sorcery speed, so it's a little bit harder to do. Or and then we get to incubate 2, or we can incubate 2 and then transform an incubated token we control. So we can either have a 2/2 if we need it, or we can blow something up and save a little bit of time and have an incubate token just sitting there ready to flip. Sunset Revelry, just so we can get some more tokens if we need them, or make a bit of card draw. Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots to protect Elesh Norn once we get it out. That's all they're here for. Ghostly Prison. I decided it was a little bit more taxing, because then they've got people who think it'll pay 2 to attack you, and then 1 to stop themselves losing life. So each creature really costs them kind of 3. So might slow the ball down a little bit and get you to a point. Inspiring Lead is just here because we're producing a lot of tokens, so let's try and make them bigger. Oath of Gideon is literally for the tokens. We've got 1 Planeswalker, 2 Planeswalkers I think left in the deck. Or is it just 1? Might just be 1 actually. No, there is 2. So we're not going to worry about the extra loyalty counter, but it's another way of getting some little allies and tokens on the go. Phyrexian Awakening enters the battlefield, becomes a very big incubation, and gives all our Phyrexians vigilance, which is lovely. Although unfortunately when we flip this it does blow up when we get to the end step, but hey, hopefully we'll get some benefit out of it. Prava pumps all our tokens, and then we get to pump some out. Again, extra ways of making things we can use to flip Elesh, along with Queen's Commission. Anointed Procession makes it really easy, because we get this into play, tokens double up. Makes it a lot easier to flick Elesh Norn. And if you've got this in play when you flip Elesh Norn, you get 10 incubator 2/2s. Just point it out. Captain's Call for more tokens. Felidar Retreat gives us tokens every time we play a land. Indoctrination Attendant. Now, I've put this in and people will be going, what's this here for? It's actually really quite combos a little bit with Elesh Norn, because if you're about to do the if you play this on when your Elesh Norn is at stage 2 of the saga side, you can return the most important thing on your board to your hand that might be about to be blowing up once you get to stage 3. For me, that will probably be either Anointed Procession, or Intangible Virtue, or Ghostly Prison. They're the 3 things I'd be looking at to save with it. But just bear it in mind, you still get the might. This doesn't die, the might doesn't die, except for Phyrexian. So tiny combo, but could be useful. My Overseers here, as long as it's your turn, tokens we control get +1 and have first strike, which is lovely, and then we get to pay 3 and a Phyrexian to create another might if we want to. Mile Shield of Argives in just to produce the tokens. I don't mind if this gets blown up. Smothering Tide helps us ramp our mana. Not too worried if this gets blown up by Elesh Norn when she flips, because of the treasure tokens we'll have in play. Tiller Refresh is just another Phyrexian Knight. Whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more permanents, incubate 2. Don't know if that's going to work or not, but it was just I don't think I've got anything that targets permanents. But It's a Phyrexian. It could come out. It probably will do, but I want to play some more Phyrexians to make sure I had things surviving on the board when this flipped. Turin, Champion of Freedom, is just in to give us some wonderful more humans. Likewise, Ajani's here just so we can gain some life and make some tokens. And if we get to the 0, 15 more life than total and exile everything else, yeah, okay then. Court of Grace for some more tokens again, and it gives us the monarchy, so it gives away drawing cards. Emiria Angel, more tokens. Likewise, we hero Blayhold when we attacked. Lay down a Sanctity just so we can't be the target while we're trying to set things up. And Leyline of the Meek to pump our tokens up. Again, another thing we could save if we need to with the Indoctrination Attendant. But yeah, not that worried. Because Moondrak Glory Dominus is here. This is just great with this deck. Again, it's another version of Anointed Procession. It survives Elesh Norn flipping. Can't complain at all. And Wrath of God just to control the board a little bit. The other version of Elesh Norn is here, just so we can get the additional triggers when things come into play. Infected Defector, again, dies, incubate 3, that's fine, can let it kill up. 4/3 is fine, not particularly great stats for 5 mana, but you do get a 3/3 out of it at the end. Rabble Rousing, just to give us some tokens so we can make sure we've got enough on the board to flip Elesh Norn when we need to. Sphere of Safety slows everybody down attacking us, another way of making them tax their mana. So, you probably will get in with the 2 life loss every so often. Angel of Invocation pumps our team up. Cathar's Crusade pumps our team up. Divine Visitation makes everything into 4/4 angels, which has its upsides. We'll see. But I believe I've done it right. When we flip this, we do get Phyrex. I'm not sure. They don't become Phyrexians, unfortunately. But you do end up with a whole load of 4/6/6 angels if I've done my stats right, so it might be worth looking at. Essence of Orthodoxy is here just because when it or another Phyrexian in this battlefield under your control, we get to incubate. Fine. These are mites. Phyrexian mites. Ta-da! Get lots of things. Seagull of the Empty of Throne, just when we cast a few enchantment spells we've got, we get an angel. I am very tempted to drop this out because it's probably a little bit pointless, so actually I'm going to do that while I'm here. I'm going to put in Drifting Meadow just so I can have another land. Sunfall, exile all creatures, then incubate X, where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. You can get a massive token. It'll probably get bounced, but you can get a massive token. Beacon of Immortality, just to keep our life total nice and high. Elspeth to destroy the big stuff and then produce the 1/1 soldiers to help us out with Elesh. Nykthos Paragon, because we do gain some life as we go through this game, and put some +1/+1 counters on each creature seemed like a good plan at the time. Second Planeswalker is the Eternal Wanderer. Exile an artifact or creature, return it to the battlefield under control. Really nice little combo with the Indoctrination Attendant, which is why it's here. You could probably drop this out and play something else, but I quite like having the Eternal Wanderer. Triplicate Spirits, just to convoke and get some more spirits on the go. And then a few things at the end here. Solar Migration gives us some bird tokens. I'm very keen on the token generation, so I can get Elesh flipped as soon as possible. Legion Loyalty, I still haven't managed to use this card, so it's turned up in yet another white deck, so apologies. Take it out if you want to, put something else in. I've got no issue with it, but this is purely, I want this to work at least one game for me, so it's here again. Secure the Wastes gives us token along with Finale of Glory. That's why they're here, just to give us the tokens to get things going. White Sun's Twilight is better because we gain X life, create X/1/1 colourless Phyrexian Mike artifact creature tokens because they're Phyrexians. Don't care about anything else. And we get X5 and more, we blow the board up. No issue. Likewise, Progenitor Exarch's also here. Enters the battlefield, incubate 3 X times. It's not too difficult to do this with a silly amount of mana, mainly because with all the permanents we do have coming into play and other sources, and having Nykthos around, you do generate quite a bit of mana, and you can just dump it all in here. If you think about it, you've got Sol Rings, both of the Suspend cards, and Arcane Signet. You can dump quite a bit in. Now, that's my take on the wonderful world of Elesh. I'm not saying it's perfectly tuned yet. There are some cards that I'm really hoping will come in and join us once we get the Commander decks for March programmed into MTGO. So I will do an update at some stage in the very well, far off future, because who knows when they're going to get programmed in at this stage. But that's it. That's my take on Elesh Norn. Token heavy with usual token sub themes, in the hope that we can flip this and go 1, 2, 3 as many times as we can, just to win the game that way. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if I've missed anything down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.